Hello and welcome to another episode of Geared Toward Gear. My name is Sean and I'm so glad you're here. Today we're looking at two more lights from Sofirn. You'll see three on the table, two of them are identical, just different colors. And these are ones that were not provided to me. This one actually was my first Sofirn that I ever purchased, probably 2 months ago. And this one I bought about a month ago and this one maybe 2 weeks ago. So not sponsored by the company. Don't get any kickbacks, no discount code, unfortunately. If you didn't watch my last Sofirn video on the SP33, please do go check that out because it's a great light and there is a discount code. That one was provided to me by the company, but these I bought myself and I want to talk about them. So as with all the Sofirn lights, they're going to come in a standard Sofirn cardboard box such as this. And inside, with any Sofirn light that comes as a kit, you're going to get a charger, the actual dock and the cable to plug it into your laptop or whatever USB device you want to use to plug that into. And you'll also get a wrist lanyard and a spare set of O-rings. So that's pretty standard for all Sofirn flashlight kits. In addition, what's really cool is that they all come with, at least these two models and all of their kits do come with a battery. Now, this is not the battery that this light came with. It's a different one, but let's see if we look at the SP31. This probably still has the original battery from Sofirn. There we go. So it will come with a Sofirn brand battery. These both run on an 18650 lithium-ion rechargeable. And now that I think about it, I don't know that this one, and we'll talk about the color later, I don't know that that one came with a battery, but the black versions definitely did. And they came as full kits. So let's kind of get a few specs out of the way and kind of let you know what we're looking at here. So we've got two different lights. So I'm gonna get this one off camera for now just because it's confusing because we're really looking at two models here. The first one is the model SP31 version 2.0. And this is what I was carrying in my last EDC video that I did probably a week ago, depending on when I post this. And this is the model SP32A version 2.0. So very similar in size and basic, output levels, but there's a lot of things that are different that are gonna probably appeal to you one way or the other. I love them both. I love all flashlights, hence why I have both and why I have two of the SP32. I will say real quick with the SP32, it comes in black, which all Sofirn lights come in black. This is the only model that I've seen that comes in a different color, and they call this gold. To the naked eye, and it may not pick up on camera, it's more of like a kind of a gray with some bronze in it. It's a really attractive color. I love it, absolutely love it, which is why I bought a second one of a light that I already had. So the SP31 and the SP32. So let's talk about what's different. The SP31 is a little more expensive at $37. The SP32 is going to cost you about $29. The SP31 has a clicky tail switch and a side switch. The SP32 only has a side switch. The length on the SP31 is going to be 5.25 inches. And on the SP32, it's going to be 4.85 inches. So as you can see here, if I line up the bezels, you can see that one's just a little longer than the other here. Not a huge difference, but it is worth noting. The weight is slightly different. The SP31 here on top with the clicky tail switch is going to weigh 2.5 ounces, and the SP32 is going to weigh 2.3 ounces, so just a little bit less. And those are the weights without the battery. So a little heavier with the battery. The SP31 version 2.0 is going to be using a Cree XP High V3 LED, which we can see there, and a smooth reflector. And the SP32A, or I'm sorry, SP32 version 2.0 is using a Cree XP L2 LED, also with a smooth reflector. So good quality LEDs in both of them. They'll give you slightly different beam patterns, and again, we'll see some beam shots here at the end to see what these can actually do. What they have in common is that they are both rated for 2 meters of submersion and 1 meter of drop safety. They both have a mineral glass lens that's coated for reflective properties, and they're both made of 6061 aluminum, and they both have instant access to turbo, This one you kind of have to set up to get your instant turbo. This one has it built in, but you can get instant access to turbo on both lights. The one on top here, the SP31 version 2.0, is going to put out a max output of 1200 lumens. And the one on the bottom here, the SP32 version 2.0, is going to put out a max output of 1300 lumens. And there's plenty of modes in between, so let's quickly go through the user interface for these lights, and then we'll head outside and see what they can do in real life. So we're going to move the SP32 off to the side here. You can still look at it because it is a very pretty color, but we'll focus on the SP31 version 2.0. And as I mentioned, this is my favorite Sofirn currently. It's one that I EDC pretty frequently, especially if I'm going out in the evening when it's dark out and I want something a little more powerful. This has kind of been my go-to for quite a while. So the user interface on this is that you're gonna have 7 modes. You're gonna have an eco, low, medium, high, turbo, strobe, and SOS. It does have a memory feature, which is nice. So to operate this light, you simply, to turn it on, you have to use the clicky tail switch. So you'll turn it on. It's gonna come on in whatever setting you were most recently in. And it looks like this is probably eco. It also does have a battery status indicator. You may have seen that. I'll show you that again when I turn it on here. You can see that red light. It means I've got probably between 50 and 50% battery, something like that. So that's what that is, which is nice to have a battery level indicator. So it looks like we're probably on eco right now. And to cycle through the modes, once you've turned it on, you're gonna use the side switch. So we've turned it on and we are in eco. That's gonna be 5 lumens for 291 hours. We're gonna just do a short press of the button to cycle through the modes. So one short press, we're gonna go up to low, which is 50 lumens for 27 hours. One more press to medium, 160 lumens for 10 hours. High is 500 lumens for 3.5 hours. And turbo, double click, and that's gonna be 1200 lumens for 2.5 hours. So really impressive output on turbo for this light as far as runtime is concerned. For it to run that long on turbo is pretty impressive. So again, that's 1200 lumens on turbo. So again, we'll click it on. It's gonna remember its most recent setting and just click through the modes. Pretty simple UI. If you wanna access your strobe and your SOS, you're just gonna do a long press. So if I just press and hold, I'm gonna go to strobe. And from strobe, if I press and hold again, I'm gonna go to my SOS, press and hold for strobe, one click takes me from strobe to my SOS or my beacon mode. That's the Morse code for SOS. So that's your basic UI, and I'll long press it to get it back to the regular modes. And there I am, eco, low, medium, high, turbo. So pretty simple. And as I mentioned earlier, the instant access to strobe is gonna be achieved by leaving it in turbo when you turn it off. So if I turn this on and I get it up to turbo, okay, so I'm in turbo now. If I turn this off, it's now basically set for instant turbo. The next time I turn this on, it will come on in turbo. And what I like about this light, and one of the reasons why I carry it so frequently, is that it does have a momentary feature. So I can just do a half press and get momentary access to any brightness level, but in this case, turbo. So just a simple half press, or I can click it in all the way and get my turbo that way. So that's the basic UI on the Sofirn SP31 version 2.0. So now let's move that one to the side and take a look at the SP32A version 2.0. So this one's got a much different user interface, and it actually has 2 different ones to choose from, which is really nice. So I'm gonna unscrew the tail cap here, take the battery out just to get it back to factory settings here. And again, I've mentioned this on other Sofirn videos, but just the quality of the threads, the way they're cut, the aluminum, the feel in your hand, it's a quality light. And for the price you pay for these, the value to quality to output ratio is so high that's why I love this brand, is that you can pay not a lot of money and get a ton of value and a ton of output. So there's 2 UIs for this. You can either do individual modes or you can do ramping. I prefer ramping personally. So let's see which one it's on currently. So I'm gonna press the switch one time to turn it on. Okay, so I'm in the standard mode right now, which is good because that's what I wanted to start with. So here's your modes. So you've got Eco, which is 5 lumens for 260 hours. Low, 50 lumens for 26.5 hours. Medium, 160 lumens for 9.5 hours. High, 500 lumens for 3.5 hours. And double click for turbo, 1300 lumens for 2.5 hours. That's a crazy runtime for 1300 lumens. Having said that, I don't know that that's entirely accurate. I don't know that you'd get the full 2.5 hours runtime on turbo. It's going to depend on the type of battery, your environment, temperature, things like that. So, but it is advertised as having a 2.5 hour runtime on turbo. Same thing with the SP31, 2.5 hours on turbo. So that's the kind of the individual mode UI, where you just click through each one. Each press of the button gets you a different mode. To turn it off, long press. To get instant turbo, you just do a double click from any mode, whether it's off or on. Double click straight to turbo. Also, if I want to get strobe, I can do a triple click from any mode, whether it's off or on. 1, 2, 3, and there I am in turbo. So that's the individual mode UI. The other UI that I prefer is a smooth ramping interface. And to change modes, all you do is from the off position, press and hold the side switch for 4 seconds, and you'll see some flashes. So those flashes indicate that I've changed the UI. So now I'm in smooth ramping, which with this light is my preference. So what that means is that if I press and hold this button, it's going to ramp up. If I release and then press and hold again, it's going to ramp down. See that? And then it kind of flashes to let you know you've reached either the max or the minimum. So right now we're on Eco. Press and hold. It slowly ramps up all the way through to turbo. 1300 lumens. There's your little flash letting you know you reached your max. Press and hold again. It slowly ramps back down all the way to Eco. And what's cool about this is that you can, access any kind of lumen output in between. So as you're ramping, wherever you want to stop, just let go of the button. Whether you're, going up, you want to stop there, or you're going down. And I want to stop there, I just let go. So that's the smooth ramping feature, which I really like on this light, and it's my preference for a lot of lights. So it's awesome that you get the option for both a individual mode user interface as well as that smooth ramping user interface. So for that reason, I really like the SP32A version 2.0. The SP31 version 2.0, I really like because of the clicky tail cap and that instant momentary feature and instant access to turbo that way. So, depending on your preference, you may like one or the other. I like them both. I carry this one more, but I use this one around the house all the time. So that's kind of the main differences between the two. Very similar outputs. Every mode on each light is identical in output, except for turbo. On the 31, your turbo is 1200, and on your 32, the turbo is 1300. Otherwise, the modes are identical in terms of lumen output. So yeah, that's kind of the skinny on the SP31 version 2.0 and the SP32A version 2.0 from Sofirn. The 32 here, I have it in black and what they call gold. They also do offer it in a silver, which is like very, very silver. Too silver and too flashy for my taste, but they do offer it in 3 colors, black, gold, and silver. The SP31, as I mentioned, just black. And everything's included, right? The battery, the charger, the O-rings, the lanyard, all that good stuff. So it's a kit that's all ready to go. And these often go on sale on Amazon. You'll get like a 6% or a 10% just random coupon on Amazon. So if you keep an eye on these, you can probably get them for a slightly better deal than kind of the traditional retail, which, as I mentioned earlier, on the SP31 version 2.0 is $37. On the SP32A version 2.0 is $29. So that's kind of what it is. Let's head outside and see what these things can do. stand by and I'll meet you in the backyard. Hello and welcome back to Geared Toward Gear's backyard. Here we're going to do some beam shots of the Sofirn SP31 and the SP32A. So we're going to start with the SP31, which is the clicky tail switch. I'm just going to go straight to turbo and we're going to look at the shed. You may barely be able to see it now, but let's go ahead and go straight to turbo and take a look at that shed. Okay, so that's about 140 feet, 130 feet from where I'm standing. And I will say beam shots never really come through on video the way they do to the naked eye. So this light is completely lighting up that shed. It's not blue in any way as far as the tint or the color of the light. It's a cool white, but it is not blue in any way. So if you're seeing blue tints, that's not what you're gonna see to your eye. That's just the camera. And there's plenty of usable spill starting about 6 feet in front of me. All the grass is lit up pretty well. This tree here is about 45 feet probably from where I'm standing. So quite bright at 1200 lumens on turbo. So that is the SP31 version 2.0, again with the clicky tail switch. Now we're gonna switch over, if I can get it out of my pocket, to the SP32A version 2.0, and that is the side switch. And let's go ahead and just double click this straight to turbo. And again, go with the shed here. Again, it may appear, to have a bluish or greenish hue on the camera. That is not the case. It is very much a kind of a cool white, but definitely not blue. Again, lights up the shed and the tree quite nicely. Tons of spill and flood that's very useful. So, I can see everything in my entire yard essentially. I will say this one has slightly less of a hot spot in the center than the SP31. It's a little bit floodier, whereas the SP31, in my opinion, is a little bit more of a tighter beam, but it's very, very close, and it's not too noticeable. So either one's going to give you a pretty similar beam pattern. So let me turn this one off, bring back the 31, and kind of do a quick side-by-side between the two. All right, so here's the SP31, SP32. Clicky tail switch, side switch. So there's your beam shots. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.